My name is Yishun. At the most impulsive time of my high school years, I did the craziest thing in my life. I kissed my slow-warm childhood sweetheart. When hanged by force, he pushed me away with a cold face and said coldly, Yishun, can you stop being so casual? That sentence pierced my heart like a needle, leaving me utterly embarrassed for a long time. When Hang and I have been neighbors since we were kids. He moved next door to my house when he was 8. He rarely smiled and spoke little, but he was unbelievably smart. He slept in class but always got the top grades. And he was the one who helped me with my homework. My mom often visited his house, and everyone envied me for having such a good looking and high achieving childhood sweetheart. He was slow and withdrawn, and I was the only girl close to him. I once thought this was a silent special bond between us. Everything changed when Yi King, a transfer student, came in our sophomore year. She sprained her ankle in PE class, and when Hang, who had always been calm, turned pale with worry and carried her to the infirmary without hesitation. But when I had a high fever half a month earlier, he only said lightly, "Drink more hot water." At that moment, my heart ached sharply, and I knew clearly that I was never special to him. On the day the college entrance examination ended, my 10-year-long secret love finally burst out. I pulled Wen Hang downstairs and kissed him on my tiptoes. I thought my years of affection would be fulfilled at that moment, but his rejection was crisp and hurtful. I avoided him and dared not meet him again until I saw a video on his WeChat moments him kissing Yi King passionately. I completely gave up. It turned out he was not slow, he just didn't love me. I deleted all his contact information and never spoke to him again. 5 years passed in a flash. I was unemployed, my last company had just closed down, and my life was a mess. My roommate Chenjia begged me to go to a class reunion. I agreed only after making sure Wen Hang would not be there. But the moment I opened the door, I saw him. In 5 years, Wen Hang had been completely transformed into a tech star frequently featured in financial news, dressed in elite style with expensive cufflinks. Meanwhile, I looked downcast and accomplished nothing. The atmosphere in the private room instantly became delicate. The class monitor joked with a smile. I remember Yishun kissed Wen Hang by force in high school, right? All eyes fell on me, playful and curious. Chanjia quickly smoothed things over, saying I was no longer the reckless little girl I used to be. I forced a smile and looked up, accidentally meeting Wen Heng's gaze. His eyes were so burning that they made my heart race. Yishun, you must still like Wen Hang now, right? The topic turned back to me again. Just as I was about to refuse, my phone rang. A clear young voice came from the receiver. Natural and intimate, sis, don't buy black underwear next time. You dyed my white T- shirt black. The private room fell silent instantly, and all the gossipy eyes turned away. I answered briefly and hung up. No one mentioned my past with Wen Hang anymore. The caller was Yu Zian, my current roommate, a few years younger than me, a rich second generation with a sharp tongue and a proud heart. He was the elder brother of the student I tutored. After the party, I opened a ride-hailing app and found more than 100 people were waiting in line. I looked around anxiously, only to find Wen Hang standing in the corner, not leaving. The dim street lamps stretched our shadows long. He took out a cigarette and lit it. I remembered that he never smoked before and even hated the smell of smoke. Probably he changed, because of socializing over the years. After a long silence, he spoke first, his voice obscure in the smoke. How long have you been living with that guy? Stepped back, avoiding his hand, trying to wrap his scarf around me, and said lightly, 3 months. I owed rent while looking for a job, and the landlord forced him on me as a roommate. Hes, my student's brother. I didn't explain further, deliberately letting him misunderstand. Wen Hang took a deep drag of his cigarette, his voice tense with imperceptible tightness. Yishun, I was too harsh back then. We were young. It's okay. It's all in the past. I interrupted him, calm and flat. He froze in place, and after a few seconds, he said again, "I'll drive you home." No need. I called a ride. His face darkened. He grabbed my wrist and walked toward the parking lot. Just then, a red sports car stopped in front of us. The window rolled down, and Jusian leaned out, his blonde hair making his eyes bright. Get in. He pulled me over without hesitation and stuffed me into the passenger seat. From the corner of my eye, I saw Wenheng staring at us blankly, his expression complicated. Who was that guy just now? Jusian asked while driving. Hey classmate. Looking at you. It's not like meeting a classmate. More like attending a funeral. Do you like him? I was silent for a moment and admitted frankly I chased him. But he didn't like me. Jusian scoffed and glanced at me. Your taste really needs an eye check. H.E.S. not even as handsome as me. I didn't refute. Wenheng was cold and reserved. While Jusian was bright and flamboyant, they were completely different types. The car stopped in the apartment basement. I cowled and unbuckled my seatbelt. Jusian leaned over, one hand on the back of my chair, the other helping me press the buckle. The basement was dim, and the faint woody scent on him lingered around my nose, making the atmosphere strangely ambiguous. Send me a message in situations like this in the future. His low voice was close to my ear, a tingling sensation spreading down my neck. Then he returned to his lazy tone. In case you catch a cold, my brother has no one to tutor his homework and annoys me every day. I wanted to laugh and cry, but my heart fluttered slightly. A few days later, Chen Jia referred me to a new job. On my first day, I heard a familiar laugh as soon as I entered the company when Heng was talking and laughing with the boss in the office. It turned out he was the partner the company had been trying to win for months. Kanjia leaned over, her eyes bright when Heng just asked me if you have a boyfriend. Does he like you? I shook my head. How could that be? After 10 years of companionship, if he had feelings, he would have acted long ago. The boss wanted to invite him to a hot spring, but he said he would bring the whole company, especially the new staff. Chen Jia said excitedly, "This is obviously for you." I forced a smile, thinking he just disliked being alone. Soon, the boss called me into the office and asked me to add Wenheng on WeChat to take charge of the team building. I had deleted his WeChat after high school, but now I couldn't refuse. After the boss went out to answer a call, only the two of us were left in the office. When Heng closed the door and walked up to me, I asked Chenjia. She said you didn't mention having a boyfriend. I have an empty apartment in the city center, close to your company. You can move in without paying rent. No, thank you. I refused firmly. Why? Living with a strange man? His voice was urgent. H.E.S. not a stranger. Wenheng. Living well now. He took a step forward, his eyes lonely. Yishung. You're different from before. Yes, I used to be his little follower. I handed him water when he played basketball. Saved pocket money for half a year to buy the headphones he liked for his birthday, and I never refused him. But he was always slow to respond to my feelings. Would you rather live with a stranger than with me? Do you hate me? His Adam's apple rolled, his voice choked. I don't hate you. I just don't care anymore. This sentence seemed to pierce his pain. He hurried to explain that video on moments back then was a dare Yi King lost. She kissed me by force and stole my phone to post it. I didn't know until later. We weren't ever really together. My heart ticked sharply. It turned out the video that broke my heart was just a misunderstanding. But so what? I was called casual for kissing him on my own initiative, yet Yi King could make him anxious and care. What's more, I had overheard his conversation with his mother at the convenience store. I wanted to confront him that day, but I heard when he and Jia's mother say, Yishun is nice, but she's from a single-minded parent family, and her mom is just a supermarket promoter. You deserve better. And Wenheng just replied calmly, I know. It turned out I had been a backup in his eyes from the start. All his slowness and distance were just not enough love. Plus the gap in family background, making him never include me in his future. That night, when Heng sent me a message, I was never really with Yi King. I didn't reply. The past was past, and no explanation mattered anymore. The company team building went to a hot spring. I checked in at the front desk, and when Hang followed closely, saying directly to the receptionist, "Put my room next to hers." I was about to refuse when Juzia's voice came from beside me. "Can't you see she doesn't want to live next to you?" I was stunned. This hot spring hotel turned out to be owned by Juzia's family. He told the receptionist change 1806 to 315. Then he whispered to me, "I'm in 317. Facing when he NGS displeased gaze, Zhu Zian said casually, "Sorry, Mr. Wen, the nearby rooms have unstable hot water, and the nearby floors are fully booked. Mention my name for future receptions. 20% off." No need. When Heng refused coldly, Zhu Zian ignored him and pulled me to the room. I found it was a luxury suite, far beyond the company's budget. "I'll pay for it. Stay here peacefully. Call me if you need anything." He left after saying that. After changing into my swimsuit, Chen Jia stared at me in amazement. "Ishum, you have such a great figure. The pink swimsuit suits you so well." She patted me with a smile, telling me to be confident and stop covering up. I looked up and saw Wen Heng and his colleagues not far away. His colleague teased him with a smile, his eyes falling on me, and when he NGS gaze locked tightly on me, complicated. The hot spring pool was crowded. Chen Jian pointed to a blonde boy opposite. "That handsome guy has been looking at you for a long time. He has a great figure." I looked and saw it was Xu Ziyan. His hair wet with steam, his skin fair, his body lines smooth. In a trance, a hand pulled me from behind, and I bumped into Xu Ziyan's chest. "Finally letting loose?" he said lightly, brushed the wet hair from my forehead, stared at me for a few seconds, then threw a clean bath towel over me and turned away. His gesture was gentle and restrained, making my heart race inexplicably. After dinner, I breathed fresh air at the hotel entrance. Xu Ziyan's younger brother, Xu Ziyu, ran over with milk tea. "Teacher Yi, my brother organized a trip to the top of the mountain to watch the meteor shower. It's the last birthday of the year. You'll have to wait another year if you miss it." I wanted to refuse, but Xu Ziyan drove over and said lightly, "Didn't you always want to watch the meteor shower? Get in, we'll miss it if we're late." I remembered I had casually mentioned wanting to watch a meteor shower while tutoring Zhu Ziyu, never expecting him to remember. Zhu Ziyu tried to pull me to the passenger seat, but Xu Ziyan frowned, "Sit in the back. Teacher Yi gets carsick." I sat in the passenger seat, watching the night scenery pass by, with the clean breath of the young man beside me. The long minus suppressed bitterness in my heart seemed to slowly fade away. I once thought Wen Heng was the only obsession in my life. I spent 10 years loving a slow man, only to get hurt and feel inferior. But after reuniting 5 years later, his regrets, his compensation, his explanations could no longer move me. I was no longer the impulsive, reckless little girl who revolved around him. I had experienced the embarrassment of unemployment, the hardships of life, and met someone who put me in his heart and knew how to cherish me. When he NGS slowness wasted 10 years of my life, Xu Ziyan's warmth made me believe again in the feeling of being firmly chosen. That impulsive kiss back then was the bravest and most awkward ending of my youth. Now, I can finally let go of the past and walk bravely towards my own bright future. The car drove toward the mountain top, and the starry sky was faintly visible. I knew my new life was just beginning.